steal this one. I don't care. Let's see.
There we go.
There we go.
What's good,
up,
man?
James? It's good to see you. Sorry.
Always good to see you, my guy.
I just picked a photo. It says Darrell on here. So his face is on all of them. So I guess that's what we get, bro.
He's an honorary member for the night. It's all good.
Yeah, his big head's got to be somewhere. So James and I are coming tonight for our first podcast together to just kind of talk football and more college football and, see where we're at for our awards and what we think. So what did you think of this weekend's football so far?
Well, so far, man, we had some great games this past Sunday. In the opening window, I didn't think the Carolina Panthers would have took the Chiefs to the wire like that. Again, the great finish we saw in Washington and Dallas. It's got to be a heartbreaker for Washington to make that hell of a play, and then for the kicker to miss the extra point. But I think they said he had missed that was his second miss of the day. So, man, it's devastating to lose that way. You make the miracle play you need, and then the kicker doesn't come through on the other end. It kind of sucks if you're a Washington fan.
Or, I'm sorry, the Commanders special teams coach needs to have his ass fired.
I don't know, man. I think at this point they'll probably ride it out for the season with him, and then maybe make evaluations in the off season. And some people are probably even questioning Quinn to say, hey, why not go for 2? But I'm thinking a situation like that, he's like, look, we done made the miracle play. We got all the momentum. Let's just kick the extra point. Let's go into overtime, and let's close this thing out. And the kicker shanks it.
And Siebert's been pretty,
he was dynamite. I think they said yesterday was like the first time he had missed an extra point in a moment. So, I'm pretty sure that nobody had that on their bingo card. But that was just a wild game. Regardless, Turpin's return for the touchdown.
The 99-yard
button definitely works.
The onside kick where everybody's like, look, he's got the ball. Watch him go.
But that was a wild game in itself. And then even the later window, the Packers beat down on the 49ers. We saw the Seahawks get a much needed win over the Cardinals. They kind of compete and stay near the top of their division. So we had some great games yesterday. We got another good one tonight between the Chargers and the Ravens. Hopefully it lives up to the expectations of the rest of this weekend's games.
Okay. What's wrong with my graphic, Darrell? Apparently, because I have the one-on-one, he's going to hop in and change it because I messed up. I don't know.
He's working behind the scenes.
What I like.
He might make a guest appearance.
No, he's hiding. Later. He's changing the graphic. But you got the Ravens or you got the Chargers?
So what? Monday night tonight, I took LA. I think the fact that it's in LA, the Ravens have to travel. I think the Chargers do pick up the dub tonight. And then overall, Harbaugh is known for winning a lot of gritty games. And I feel like that's what this one comes down to. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of fireworks. We're probably going to see a lot of ground and pound. And I think Harbaugh finds a way, being the home team, the Chargers pull this one out. But if I had to give a prediction, I'd say, 27-24 Chargers?
I went with the Ravens winning because they need the W to stay relevant. Who in God's name thought Jameis Winston would be able to pull off a win against the Steelers? Especially, I got to say, he is I don't want to talk smack about him. It's nice to see that pure joy, like his first time seeing snow. he was a kid again playing football, and it was amazing. And I like that.
James is the character, man.
He's something
But
special.
honestly, you never know what you're going to get from him. You never know if you're going to get the game like you got this past Thursday, where, he makes some miracle plays, he makes an interception, but somehow he corrects it. Or if we get the Tampa Jameis that goes 30 for 30, you just never know. Jameis is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
But right now, if you're Cleveland, you got Jameis. and you potentially have a chance to get a top 5 pick next year. What do you do with Watson? Watson's got to be gone. I'm sorry. He has not played the football that we thought he could, and they paid him a bunch of money and gave up a lot of collateral to get him. I,
I mean, they
I
definitely overpaid. They overpaid, I think picks and monetary wise, but at this point, unless you're willing to eat that contract, I think he's still on the books for next season. I mean, we know his contract is fully guaranteed. They're up against the cap as it is. What I think, let's see real quick going into next season, they got to be like right up against the cap, if not over. And so it's going to be hard to kind of reset the books. I know a lot of teams do normally follow that rookie quarterback formula to kind of reset the franchise, reset the books. But if you're Cleveland, I mean, you have so many guys that you've paid. Yeah, what looking at the cap right now on Spotrac, what for next year, they're already 45 million over the cap.
oh
So,
snap!
they're gonna have to finagle a lot of numbers, maybe restructure some deals, maybe even move on from some players, just to even get under the cap. But we'll see. I mean, that's why GMs get paid. That's why the cap guy gets paid. We'll see what moves they're able to make. But I think they're stuck with Watson for another year. Maybe you do draft the heir apparent now if you're gonna have a top pick, whether it's Ward, Sanders,
Oh,
Ewers, or
don't say
whoever
that
you
name.
like.
I, saying I'm gonna flip the script from that from NFL to college. What do you think about him pushing the ref and nothing happening?
I don't like it, but at the same time, we saw him get taken out with a knee shot by a Kansas linebacker, and the refs didn't do anything to support him. So while I don't like it, I can't say I hate it either. It's definitely a lot of fire, a lot of passion in this game, which I do love. I like to see that he's competing, but at the same time, it's like, look, don't cheap shot me. If you're gonna beat me fair, beat me clean. Don't cheap shot me. Don't try to take me out the game. Again, I don't like him touching the ref. And again, we know at the next level, that's an automatic ejection. So I don't like that. But I do appreciate the fire, the passion, and the will
I'm
to go
gonna
out there and compete.
agree with the fire and the passion, but for me, there's red flags because wherever he goes, his dad's gonna follow. I want to see his dad stay, but more likely, there's been the talk of the Cowboys and stuff like that, and not that I don't like Dion, but some of his antics I don't agree with. Like, um, he wants to coach young men, and I agree with that. That's what you got to do when you go to this level. But at the same time, when you won't recruit people from single parent homes, I know quite a few great young men that come from single parent homes. So, I mean, you can't judge a book by the hand they're dealt. You got to judge them by the way they handle the hand they're dealt.
Mm. I don't know about the single parent home court. I know at one point he was saying about what for the offensive lineman, he wanted them to come from two-parent homes. For the defensive lineman, that tenacity, that mindset, he liked them from single-parent homes. I don't know if he's changed his quote or his mind, but I would say I like him a lot better in college football as well. I don't believe Dion's going to travel with the Suns to the NFL. Again, I know a lot of people like to push that Dallas narrative, but I don't see that happening. Jerry Jones likes to be controlled too much. And we've seen from how Dion operates at Jackson State and at Colorado, he likes that power and control as well. Those would be two alphas kind of butting heads. And I
Jerry's got
don't
to be
see that
putting a
working
home
out.
soon, dude.
See, Jerry's not going to put himself in a home though, and like nobody else on that team, nobody else in that family is going to mess up their money by saying, "Hey, look, Dad, it's time for you to step out," because
Maybe
they know
his
Jerry will just say, "Hey,
new
look, nah,
daughter
you
that
can
he's
go."
gonna test for.
Look, I don't know about that one either, but I doubt she have any say so in this matter if it
I know. I'm just being a
gets
shit.
rectified. But I mean, the Cowboys' biggest problem right now is Jerry being Jerry. I don't see that changing anytime soon. He's going to be the man. He's going to be in charge of that ship until he goes down with it. So, just buckle up if you're a Cowboys fan. Enjoy the wins, but I don't foresee it getting any better until we do see a change in that management spot where either Jerry relinquishes control or one of his sons steps up and takes it. The Cowboys are going to cowboy. I mean, they haven't even won a home game yet this season, which is even more shocking that, we're what, week 12, week 13. They still yet to win a home game.
And
They
it's
have
one
the
of the
Giants this
newer
Thursday,
stadiums,
so
and
we'll
it's
see if they can
falling
pick that
apart.
up.
Did you
I
see
mean, that
that where the
happens though.
pieces of
Yeah,
the
where the little metal sheet fell. I mean, that happens, a loose screw here or there. I'm pretty sure, they can fix that easy. What's more concerning is the product and the play on the field. I think it's going to take a little bit more than a couple loose screws and some metal glue to hold that together, especially with Dak coming back off a hamstring injury. It's going to be tough. We'll see, but I doubt Dion or Shador goes to Dallas.
no, I do that. Not that I'm a Dallas fan, but the fact that I live with one. But yeah. So, still talking NFL. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season that we possibly could see in the era of the passing league a running back break the all-time rush record, what would you told me?
I would probably say you're full of shit. Um, Again, in today's NFL, it's such a passing league. To see a running back kind of dominate and get not only dominate but get the carries necessary to make something like that happen, I would have probably told you, yeah, there's no way that's happening. But the seasons that I mean, Barkley and Derrick Henry have been having, man, or maybe we'll start to see that resurgence of the running back position. I mean, but not every running back can be Saquon or Derrick Henry. I mean, those are two special guys,
Very
and
true.
we'll see if that can be replicated or duplicated by another squad. Because you got to remember too, they're bell cow guys. I mean, they're not really splitting carries with a lot of other guys where we see with some of these other teams where they'll have a feature guy, but he splits carries or splits time with another guy that kind of comes in as that relief hitter. So I don't know if we'll see another team do that in the future, but I mean, it's been great to see Derrick Henry and Saquon go off. But if you're a Giants fan, you got to be sick to your stomach right now.
Yeah, did it?
You've
I
got to
wonder
be
if
sick to your
anybody's
stomach.
checked in on Russ to see how he's doing.
Kendrick Lamar dropped a new album, so I think Russ is fine for the moment. Hopefully, he's playing that through each Giants game to kind of get him through. I think that might be his coping mechanism for right now.
Makes sense because I mean, when you take your $100 million quarterback and you got him playing safety with the scout team, you're like, what the hell?
I ain't gonna lie, that's a little disrespectful in my opinion, man. I mean, I get the guy didn't work out. I get that you bumped him to third string, but then to have him go through practice, he's the fourth string, and then the next day he's a scout team safety, and then they just cut him. I think maybe him getting cut was like a mercy thing because at this point they were honestly just toying around with him. They knew that he's not in their future plans, and so at this point they kind of just amicably agreed to split. I
I
think it's
I,
the best for
I
both
picked up the
parties.
wife and I was like, I really hope the Cowboys sign him so that they can play on Thanksgiving Day against the Giants.
I mean, in the book of dysfunctionality, that's got to be in like chapter one, but I don't see it happening, man. I don't think Jerry's that far in the bin, in the loony bin to make that happen. But I will say it makes for great television if he does do it.
Well, we
And
still
we
got
do
a
know
couple.
Jerry likes
We got what,
television.
2 days left? I mean,
All right.
Mike McCarthy's playbook is like 3 plays. So
I mean, but picture, do we see like what the Baker Mayfield game a couple years ago where Baker gets to town on a Tuesday? Daniel Jones shows up tomorrow. Then he plays what Thursday night and beats the Giants. I feel if that does happen, Giants have to clean house after that game. Dable's gone, Shane's gone.
oh yeah,
Like everybody's got to be gone if that does. In this nightmare scenario, if that takes place, you got to clean house the next day.
New
There's no way
York
you let
City football
Saquon
would be
walk and then
completely
let James
wiped
Jones
clean.
walk.
I mean,
I mean, the other team definitely should be wiped clean.
but I guess for me, for the Jets has so much young talent compared to the Cowboys. They've got a couple corners, CeeDee Lamb, of course, Parsons to build on. one or two offensive linemen, but you take a good coach like, say, Bruce Arians or Bill Belichick and give him what the New York Jets has. I was looking at their roster. You know how many former first round defensive linemen they have on that damn
It's
team?
got to be like 4 or 5.
Yeah, because they
Well,
got
you got Reddick, Williams. What they
Kinlaw,
drafted the
Solomon
Kinlaw.
Thomas.
They drafted Will McDonald, Solomon
Mhm.
Thomas, Jermaine Johnson. That was another kid they drafted a couple years ago. So like the talent is there, but in my opinion, the Jets roster needs to be immunized of their quarterback position.
Oh, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one at all. I mean,
Yeah, the Jets
but
roster needs to be immunized at the quarterback spot. I mean, it was a nice story to try to bring in Rodgers to kind of revolutionize the franchise and in the 14-year playoff drought, but it's not working. Clearly, Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself. I don't think he should be back in New York next season. Hopefully, he gets a chance to redeem himself in another spot. I just don't see it at this point in time. Since coming back from the Achilles, he's just not the same guy. The mobility's not there. At time, the arm goes in and out. But then also, we know Aaron's the type of guy where he puts in the 9 to 5 time, but he's not putting in that extra time to
right.
build rapport with a lot of his younger guys, to build that rapport with his line, to kind of make everything mesh and fit. I think at this point, he's more suited for a country club than the quarterback room.
I'm
And
not
it's
going to
sad,
disagree.
and it's sad because seeing how far he's fallen, going from that MVP level caliber quarterback that we just saw, 2, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
to now not even knowing if he's going to finish the season or if any other team should sign him. It's definitely a fall from grace, but it is what it is.
My
Father
favorite
Time
thing
is
was
undefeated.
the comparison that everybody was saying. Is he going to do what Favre did? Well, no, because Favre come out and still
No,
play football.
no. Favre was still decent at 40. He even had a decent season at 41. It didn't go off the rails, so he was like 42. We don't even know if Aaron can play at 41 because he looks bad at 40.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I as much as that story would sell, I don't see him making a comeback anywhere. I think he does get a shot somewhere else, but it's probably a team that's drafted a rookie guy. They want Aaron to kind of come in and show the guy the ropes, but what
The
they don't know
Raiders.
is
I
Aaron
see the
doesn't do
Raiders.
that.
Well, you could. I mean, the
Oh
Raiders.
God. The
The
Raiders have
Raiders
been
are
through
a
a lot. Do we
dumpster
really
fire.
need to put them through that? Do we
Uh,
really need to have Aaron Rodgers have a 1-year residency in Vegas just to fuck up their franchise too? When it's like
so,
Adams
here-
just left the Raiders. Why would he go
so
there?
him and Brady can rub elbows and become buddies.
Them two different caliber of elbows. I mean, Brady was still good at 45. Rodgers is trash now. I mean, it
I,
would be a Raiders thing to do to have his 1-year residency in Vegas before he retires, because again, they don't have much of the quarterback position either. And if they miss out on a guy in the draft, I could see it happening, but it's not going to go much better than what they currently have right now,
um,
because it'd be a downgrade in weapons. He'd be downgrading at the running back position, at the wide receiver. The only thing he'd have is a tight end, and Bowers. He's been the
yeah.
only bright spot this year on offense for the
I mean,
Raiders, especially after they traded Adams. They let Jacobs walk. I mean, there's not a whole lot there.
but then their depth at tight end is crazy because they got the guy from Notre Dame for the year before.
Michael Mayer from the year
Yeah,
before. They
and
got
doing nothing
Bowers.
to him.
Well, I think he's hurt right now, so I think they get a pass on that one. I think he's injured right now, but again, you got to have a quarterback in order to use these tight ends, wide receivers, and the Raiders haven't had that for a while.
I mean, it was like watching the 49ers last night when they put Allen in. He looked like he was scared shitless. That was it. He didn't know what he
I
was
mean,
doing.
he probably was nervous, man. I mean, he doesn't play a whole lot. I mean, he's normally a guy holding the clipboard. He got his shot in the Green Bay, and next thing you know, that cheese got to whipping up around him, and he didn't know what the hell was going on. He didn't really have much help defensively, and so the Niners kind of got their teeth kicked in, and they're used to being on the other end of that story where they're
Right.
doing the kicking, but this year just hasn't been the year for them. Um,
They
and
look
I
like
don't
they
know if
need a tackle clinic because they look. Josh Jacobs was make Barry Sanders type of moves.
They might need some help on the defensive side. I mean, you got to think they've gone through what 3, 4 different defensive coordinators now. Now that Salah's been fired from New York, I know he's right now. He's counseling up in Green Bay, so maybe at the end of the year he decides to go back
They
to
should have
to San
instantly
Fran.
picked up
But
that phone and said, "Will you come back and help us?"
they should have. But I mean, well, who's their DC now though? Because what
I
they
don't,
got rid of Wilkes. They
Rob.
fired him after they lost the Super Bowl.
Let me look.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely need to fix some things defensively. I know Bosa missed the game, but still, I mean, the rest of these guys do get paid. They cash their checks on Tuesday, just like him. So they need to step it up. But we'll see if they bring back. We'll see if they bring back Salah to kind of improve the unit.
Nick Sorensen is their DC.
Yeah, I have no
Sorensen.
idea who the hell that is.
But so I know we're past midseason, but who's your awards? Let's just go with the like your MVP, defensive player,
MVP.
and offensive rookie and defensive rookie.
MVP. I think right now, what it's a quarterback award. I think it probably is going to be Josh Allen. But wild card, I would like if it's either Henry or Saquon. That would be my wild card.
Yeah.
But I think Allen will end up getting it. I mean, they've been talking about him winning it for the past couple seasons, but this year he's got the numbers to support it. He's got the performance. They have the winning record, and then they just handed the Chiefs their first loss, so he's got that working in his favor too. So I think ultimately, Josh Allen does walk away with the MVP this year.
I agree with that 100%.
Offensive rookie of the year, I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Just seeing what he's been able to do since coming in from LSU year one, stepping right in and leading the Commanders to what 7-4. I mean, nobody saw that coming. I mean, I think at most everybody thought they'd probably win about 5 or 6 games,
So no
and
Bo
he's gotten them a couple. Not yet, not yet. I guess Bo
stat
Nix,
wise, he
it's not. It
leads
doesn't
them.
look sexy. It doesn't look sexy, and while he is putting up the numbers with the arm, Jaden's made it look better. It looks better watching Jaden do it than watching Bo Nix drop back on Sundays. And I think that does play a part into it. And then, in my opinion, Daniels has a little bit more memorable moments so far this season. You got the Hail Mary toss against Chicago to win the game. You would have had the play this past Sunday. If the kicker makes the field goal, makes the extra point, you would have had that'd have been another feather in the cap. But I think Daniels has done enough and will do enough to close that one out, and he gets offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
What defensive rookie of the year? I think that's definitely going to be Jared Verse. I mean, he's
Oh,
come in and he's been dominant for the Rams. Did you see him like run over Milata last night?
I did because versus a
Not a
guy
lot of
that
people can do that.
I was able to interview when we were doing ACC, and when I shook his hand, I mean that thing was giant, and I mean he very nice young man, very respectful, and I really wanted him in Tampa, and just
He
because
he could have he could have bettered any NFC franchise this year.
oh
In
absolutely,
any NFC South franchise, he would have made better.
seeing him fall as far as he did is a travesty, but I mean the Rams, give them kudos. It's the first time they've had a first round pick in how many are years,
About
and
seven,
they got it right.
and they
I
hit.
love it.
They got it right.
Yes,
They hit on
Rams.
it. They got it right with him. What defensive player of the year?
Myles Garrett for me right now. He's
I
playing
mean,
a little bit out of his mind.
I think
So
it would have to be Miles. I mean, what? I think if he's not the leader in sacks, I know he's at the top. And then
I,
again, like he's the one bright spot really on Cleveland this season. He's the one consistent bright spot for them actually the past couple seasons. And then, he just helped them get a win over their division leader
he's got
in the
10.
Steelers.
Hendrickson from Cincinnati's got 11 and a half. So,
I'd still stick with Miles though. I
but
mean,
Xavier
again,
McKinney could be defensive player of the
safety for
year
the Packers, yeah, because he's leading the
or
league in picks right now.
comeback player of the year because he went from the
Nah,
Giants to
comeback play of the year already wrapped up. I think Kirk Cousins got that one coming back from the Achilles injury.
Yeah, and us
I think they're going to give
giving
them
them
that one.
700 yards passing. Jesus.
So yeah, I think comeback player of the year is going to be Cousins. But I do like the argument for McKinney being defensive player of the year. Again, that system change going from New York to Green Bay. Damn, that's another guy that the Giants let walk out of the door, go somewhere else, and now he's performing. Um, but yeah, that system change going to Green Bay has definitely worked out for him. So if he wins it, I'd definitely be happy for him. I think it'd be well deserved. I couldn't hate on that one.
Okay. I mean,
So what we had left? What we did rookies of the year, we
we
did
did
MVP,
MVP. We
did defensive player.
Yep. Uh, I mean, we got coach and all that stuff, but I didn't want to go that deep into it because we still got college football to cover, and then I want to get your take on the who bought them World Series this year.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know too much about that one. I just know I watched the World Series. I saw the Dodgers win it. Outside of that, I really can't tell you much else, man. I don't know. As long
The
as
the
Otani's on the
the
books with bets in
two
them,
teams with the
maybe they
highest
repeat.
um
Payroll.
payroll, but they pay a luxury tax every year because their payroll's so damn high, and they're okay with buying. I mean, I guess a championship's championship, but still.
Hey, look, so long as it's putting up stats, awards, and trophies around the facility, man, it's money well spent. I mean, we saw the Warriors kind of do it with the Splash Brothers and keeping that crew together. Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Wiggins, and before that Barnes.
I
They
don't
kept
know.
that crew together. They won
I'm going to be
championships.
quiet because
It's worth it.
I'm loving what my Cavs are doing.
Hot start for the Cavs this year, man. Did not see that coming. That would have definitely been on the bottom list
That
of
was not on the
surprises from the
bingo
NBA
card
this
at all,
season.
yo. Not at all.
But hopefully Cleveland rides it out, man. I mean, it's the NBA is a better league, I think, when we have a lot of these smaller teams performing well. And then for Cleveland, they haven't really won much outside of the LeBron years. So for them to be able to pull this squad together to kind of go on the run they have to start of the season, it's a good story.
Definitely need it. I mean, because small market teams, we had the Guardians get to the ACLS or whatever, but they got their butts whooped. So, but
Payroll
anyways,
couldn't keep up.
So college football has been nothing but uh,
Upsets, shockers, surprises, jaw droppers.
who's going to lose this weekend type of thing. I mean, you got Michigan's got 5 losses on the year. Alabama's got 3. Nobody, again, a beginning of the season, not on your bingo card. Nobody's bingo card.
Well, no, I mean, I could see Michigan being in the spot they're in. They lost Harbaugh, they lost McCarthy, a quarterback.
Mm.
They've yet to kind of be able to replace that guy. Even though I think with them landing Bryce Underwood, I think their fortunes probably change next season.
The
But
quarterback ain't going to change if your wide receivers can't catch.
I mean, maybe the wide receivers will catch better if the quarterback throws them a better ball.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I think for right now, Michigan is on the downturn. We'll see if they pick back up next year. But I
Again,
think the bigger surprise would be
not a
what
fan.
the SEC. Like, what we have, 3 lost teams, 2 lost teams. I mean, even this weekend with Texas and Texas A&M, that's going to be a slugfest to see who gets to play
Oh,
Georgia in the SEC championship. I mean,
absolutely.
I would love to see Texas win it so they can have that rematch and see if they can give Georgia some payback for that earlier season game that they had out in Austin. But, this whole year has been wild. I mean,
It's
even for
whiplash,
Colorado,
one
right?
thing
It's
after
like,
another.
we really don't know outside of Oregon. Like, you could argue that almost any of the other teams could be the second best team in the country at this point. I mean, even Ohio State, I mean, they only lost to Oregon by 1 point. And I think if we probably replay that scenario again, I think Howard probably definitely makes some better decisions
Well, and
and gives his team a chance to actually win the game or put them in
the
position.
NCAA is looking into his 12-man thing on the purposely to get him to run clock off where we were getting in field goal range. So, I mean,
I mean, we'll see about it, but I mean, I doubt they change anything at this point.
because if things go how if we beat the team up north and Oregon wins, we in hindsight would have to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. And I just
Well, what that would be, but no, that's probably gonna be a neutral site game though. So that might that might actually work in y'all's favor for that rematch.
it's I still don't like it because I don't want us to get another loss and then head into the playoffs, if that makes sense.
I mean, it might be a risk you have to take, but I mean, again, that's the reason they play the game, man. I mean, you never know. Any given Saturday, like we saw in the first game, it was only a 1 point loss. Maybe this time around, a little closer to home, you guys do beat Oregon.
I
But
mean, the
I
Indiana
think
game
either
scared the
way,
bejesus out of me, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I know we did what we had to, but seeing them try to purposely hurt Jeremiah Smith and things like that, that just gets to me.
and it's like I think that's the stuff that we don't have place in the game for the intentional hits, the intentional injuries that these teams try to commit against players. Kind of like with we saw with Shador this past Saturday. There's no
Hmm.
place in the game for that. I
Yeah,
think that that stuff needs to be cleaned up. Those players probably do need to be ejected instead of the players that get ejected for the bullshit targeting calls. But that's
it,
just my opinion.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all on that because some of them targeting calls, you're just like
It's like
the
dude, that
the
was
running
clearly
back
all
turns
shoulder.
their head down. What the hell are you supposed to do?
If the running back lowers his head, why is the flag not thrown on him? But as a defender, why am I always the one penalized for trying to make a play after I've reacted to what the offense has done? I mean, I definitely don't agree with probably 75% of the targeting calls that get called. But I think the better way to fix it is it shouldn't be an automatic ejection, in my opinion. Definitely personal foul, 15 yards. I think teams can live with that a little bit more than these guys getting ejected because we've seen in some games where it's star defensive players or top defensive players for teams, and they're getting ejected potentially even in what the first half of the
It
game.
and it changes the entire tide.
Everything
Yep.
changes your defensive layout. If you're the defensive coordinator, it changes how you run your schemes, all of that, and a lot of times it's for stuff that could have been avoided. So
Like I'm
yeah, I think they
I'm
definitely
looking
need
at
to fix
this
the
right now.
targeting rule.
Alabama could still get into the playoffs with 3 losses because
Oh yeah.
they're at 13.
So yeah, I think and I think it'll honestly happen because what if we're looking at the schedule for this upcoming weekend? What rivalry weekend? Let's
Oh yeah,
go. What top 15? Well, you got Oregon playing Washington. I think Oregon clears that one, even though it's a rivalry game. You guys play Michigan. I think Ohio State clears that. I do like Texas A&M. I mean, I do like Texas over Texas A&M this weekend. But as far as top 10 teams that could lose,
Ole
mm,
Miss. Georgia Tech's been playing out of their mind, so Georgia could have another loss on their hands. Um, and
where is it at though?
Vanderbilt,
Because Georgia Tech is undefeated at home. Georgia Tech is undefeated at home this season.
yeah,
So
and
you
on
never know.
Vanderbilt, playing Tennessee.
I mean, Vanderbilt's been the surprise of the SEC this year. Taking down Alabama,
I love
playing a
that
lot
Nick
of teams
Saban
close.
was up there and was like, the only place you never got to worry about is Vanderbilt, and bam,
Vanderbilt smacked a couple teams in the mouth this year. And
yep.
honestly, I could see Tennessee losing to them because again, the quarterback, Iamaleava, he's a younger kid. And we've seen at times this year where that youth and inexperience has shown up in a lot of games. And
Hmm.
it wouldn't surprise me if Vandy knocks them off. But yeah, I think there's still a chance for Alabama to creep in to the college football playoff at 3 losses. And we'll see what happens.
Oh, we got the
But,
Iron Bowl this weekend too. Auburn and Alabama.
I think Alabama clears that one.
I do too, but I mean,
Because they're
I
gonna be pissed off. They're gonna be pissed off after what just happened this past weekend. I
oh
think
yeah.
Alabama clearly clears the Iron Bowl this weekend.
So Syracuse plays Miami. Explain to me how McCord can go to Syracuse and be number 2 in the NCAA in passing yards. He couldn't throw 5 yard out to Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's the dome. I guess he's a better dome player than he is outside. But it's definitely shocking to see his improvement in play going to Syracuse when you would assume that there's a downgrade in talent around him, but he's picked it up with performance. I'm gonna say it's the dome. Either it's the dome or he just prefers the color orange over scarlet.
It could be. I mean, I really their tight end. I can't. Gadsden the second. I believe he is the next Bauer of the NFL. He has just got the arm span, the hands, the whole shebang. So I think he's going to be something to watch for. But I mean, at least college football's been anything but predictable.
I mean, and I feel like that's the one thing the 12-team playoffs gives us. It's a little bit more parity. It's a lot more chances for a lot more smaller schools. But even a lot of the bigger schools, bigger programs, bigger conferences, they get multiple teams in. And we kind of seen it. They've beaten up on each other pretty much all year. And so the parity's there. It's anyone's chance once the 12 teams are selected. And I'm honestly just excited to see what we get out of it. Going from the BCS days to the 14 playoffs to now 12. I mean, the excitement's only building, man. And I think the season has just kind of given way to that because of the fact we've seen so many upsets, so many come from behind victories, so many dogs like take over. I mean, honestly,
Who's
we
your
knew
Heisman
Miami was
pick?
going to be better, but Heisman, I think it's going to be Hunter. I
Uh,
really do. Even though Genti's having like a career year, it's amazing what he's doing.
but I think
I think they're
Genty,
going to
it's
give it to
because of the
Travis Hunter.
system that he's in. Not that
I mean,
he
but he's
just
still
running over
performing
people.
though.
But for me, Hunter, when he goes pro, I think he needs to stay at corner because I've seen the interceptions he's made have been pure instinct and are amazing. Where being a wide receiver, there's more wear and tear on you there. My opinion.
That's true. I mean, being that wide receiver, he's definitely going to take more hits as opposed to him lining up at corner. But you got to think for him, what's going to be the bigger payday? Right now, receivers are making what about the top receiver is making what 35 a year over the top corner that's making what I think
24,
what
25.
right
Yeah.
24 with Patrick Surtain just getting paid. So you got to think he's making anywhere from 10 to 11 million more playing receiver. I mean, I could see him, splitting time at the next level for sure. But I could see him wanting to get those snaps in at receiver. That way, come contract time, it's like, hey, look at me as a receiver, not a
But
corner, because I want the money.
that's one of those things where I think you sit down and you talk to Charles Woodson. And because, Woodson probably played another 10 years because he played defensive back. So you got another 10 years of $24 million. That's, quarter of a
I mean,
billion
when you do the
dollars.
numbers like that, sounds good, but we'll see what Travis decides. But I definitely think he gets the Heisman. Again, I don't like, the narrative that it's going to be given to him based off his snap count or how many snaps he plays because he's performing. He's played well on both sides of the ball. If Genty were to move to safety or a corner and do some of the same things Travis does, maybe he does get the argument since he's having the career year on the offensive side. But I
Yeah.
think Travis gets it.
But Cam Ward is also having a good year, too.
In the hell with Miami.
Thir-
I'm just salty over the Tech game.
3,700 yards, 34 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So, I mean, again, the Heisman is normally a quarterback award, too.
Heisman is normally a quarterback award, but I think this is one of those years. Again, I think the story plays a part into it, and Hunter playing both sides of the ball, being dominant on both sides. I think that'll be what gets him
I still got
over the
that
top
echo,
and
though,
gets
right,
him.
right here of the year that Nagamigan Sue had where he should have got the Heisman and he didn't.
Because he had like what 20 some sacks that year.
I had, quite a few.
He had a few different sacks, tackles for losses, and it was just like,
The man was a
forget
game
win it
changer,
that
plain and
year.
simple. It was like
Forget
watching,
who won it that year.
oh, shit. I can't think. The Eagles, great. Reggie White play.
I
Defensive
mean,
tackle.
Sue was definitely dominant at Nebraska, and who knows, maybe Travis Hunter gets retribution being that first defensive player since what? Since Woodson, probably to
Since
win it.
Woodson. Yep. Woodson
So
was the
yeah,
one.
I think the
last
cycle
defensive
might
player.
repeat itself. We see Hunter get it, and maybe Colorado sneaks into the playoff, wins a game or two, and then they move on to the NFL.
Darrell, I'm rooting for Oregon. If you're rooting for Oregon over Ohio State, I have two things for you. You know what they are?
I mean, but we could say Oregon's one of those teams where with NIL, they're kind of trying to buy a championship. We
Well,
know Phil
Phil
Knight's a big
Knight's been
backer
on
for them.
record that said, I will pay to see them win a championship. And
I
that's
mean,
the
he's
only
got the
reason
money for it, so
and that's the only reason Michigan got that quarterback, even though he's 30 miles from the campus, is because the 10.5 million for 4 years that they gave him, and because he was committed to LSU.
oh yeah, I mean that's the new world of college football, man. For these top programs, you're gonna have to pay to play, and so the boosters are gonna have some deep pockets. And when you're Oregon and you got Phil Knight, who owns Nike, I mean, I don't know too many other boosters around the country with deeper pockets than that. So if Oregon
Exactly.
wins the Natty, yes, it'll be bought and paid for, but hey, the kids still had to go out there and execute.
They
So
had to
it
play.
is what it
You're right.
is.
I mean, because I'm looking at Ohio State playing Indiana, and we had so many people return that could have been first round picks. And they're like, look at what's going on. And it's like, get together, guys, do your thing. So, um, so we did baseball. I forgot what else I sent you. Let me look. Make sure I get it all.
We did NFL, we did college.
And the start of NBA, and we talked that a little bit. What do you think
Oh, we
about
did with the Cavs.
what do you think about Bronny getting sent down to the G League?
I mean, I think we all knew that was kind of coming. Based at least based off his summer league performance. He needs time. He needs to develop. Uh, I think the Lakers are doing what's best for his long term future of being in the league, sending him down to the G League, allowing him to develop, play his way up to weight in the NBA. Because again, we have to remember what he is was what 1 year off what the cardiac arrest thing. Well, I think this might be
Oh
year
yeah,
2 for him now. So
yeah.
again, he's probably still growing back into his body, learning himself, learning the game. But now you add into the fact he's got to do it at a pro regimen, a pro level. It's a learning curve for him. So him going to the G League, I think that'll give him a chance to work on his body, build himself up, build his game up, and then he'll be back to playing alongside his dad and everybody else on the Lakers.
The one guy that I've been impressed with is McCain for the 76ers.
Mhm.
He is really he
Oh
he
yeah, Darren McCain.
he should have been a lottery pick. There, I don't know how he fell as far as he did, but he'd been playing out
Some
of his
people believe
mind.
it's his off the court antics, the TikToks, the Dale painting and whatnot. Some people will probably say it's that. But
But
if you're a
that's the
Sixers fan, you're
generation we
probably
got.
glad for it. I mean, it is. It's some of the athletes in today's age and time. But again, if you're a Sixers fan, you're probably glad he did fall because now you're able to piece him together with the core, the young core you do have. And then let's say you do have to move off Embiid or Paul George at some point. You got Maxey and McCain that you can kind of build off of as that kind of young cornerstone to keep the team rolling. So, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And if you're the Sixers,
I
you're
know we
glad
still got
McCain
about
falls to
60
you.
games, but who you got going the whole way? He's like, it's
Mm.
too damn early to be asking me that, Jay.
I mean, it really is. I mean, because again, basketball is one of those sports where
You're
it
one
really
injury
doesn't heat
away
up
from
until after the All-Star break. But then again, like you said, you're only one injury away from your
yeah.
whole season being derailed. What we got the in-season tournament going on right now, which I like the fact of that because it actually is encouraging the guys to compete a little bit more. They have a little bit more to play for because we've
Mm-hmm.
seen for the past few years, like regular season basketball's been terrible. I mean, they're losing ratings for a reason. I think, the start of this in-season tournament that'll help pick up some intensity that might bring some people back for regular season. But outside of that, man, between load management, just jacking
Well,
threes,
I
it's
remember
been a
being
bad
a
look.
kid. Thanksgiving Day, we are looking at football, and we're looking to see who's playing basketball wise. I don't even know who's playing basketball this year because I don't care.
That and then even taking it a month further, Christmas Day. Christmas Day used to always be the NBA's day to have on the best teams playing, and now we're starting to see where even the NFL is taking that over just because of the lack of quality we're getting from NBA games now. I mean, these guys really don't pick it up until like what, a month before the playoffs. And for some teams, it's a little too late by then. For other teams, they're making their last minute push. But if they played with that playoff intensity throughout the season, we'd probably see the ratings pick up. We'd probably see more butts and seats, and we'd see better basketball.
I think we saw more people in the state or arenas, sorry, watching WNBA games than we right now are seeing in NBA games. And I'm not saying
I can
that's
see that.
a bad thing, but I mean,
I can see that because again, when it comes to those WNBA games, those girls are giving it their all night in and night out because they know, hey, look, nothing else is guaranteed. Whereas for a lot of guys in the NBA, like we said, they're load managing, they're taking their time, they're trying to play the long game. They may be, hesitant to go out on an injury because of the contract year, or they're trying to secure a contract. So, I think there's a lot more money wise that's prohibiting a lot of these guys from like going after it because
right.
either they're contempt and they're comfortable or they don't want to risk the money. So yeah, I think that's playing a little bit of a part into it. But another thing they did or announced recently that I thought was just complete trash is what their little model for the All-Star game. They have like an All-Star game tournament.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Just make the guys play. Make them play the intense all-star basketball that we used to see back in the 90s and the early 2000s instead of this pushover bull that they've been trying to feed us for the last 5, 7 years. Like, it's ridiculous at this point.
I think
All-star games average like what? The over-under is usually what, 450?
yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I like seeing the futures game and the skills challenge, and that's about it. I At that point I don't care no more
Right.
because
All-Star weekend, the whole weekend used to be exciting from the challenges, three-point shootout, dunk contest to the game itself. And now, like you said, people just watch either the skills challenge, the futures game, and then it's like, well, hey, there's no point in watching the All-Star game. I'll just catch the highlights because that's all it is anyway. And then you see, oh, whatever team won 245 to 222 or whatever. So it's ridiculous.
they're playing NBA Jam.
They're not even playing. There was more defense on NBA Jam. Like it's on. It's like at this point they literally just let the guys just get the ball. Oh, it's your turn. You run down. You shoot. Oh, hey, I dunked last possession, so now you need to dunk. Oh, if you can't dunk, oh, just dish it to the best guy on your team that can dunk. We'll let you throw the alley oop. It's all good. There's no defense here. Like it's pathetic. If you want the All Star game to be better, make the best players play their best game for All Star weekend.
True. I mean, because they're getting a nice bonus check for showing up.
Or make it a situation of like, hey, look, all kind of like with the Pro Bowl, how it used to be, where hey, look, you're playing for a certain charity. After you get your little stipend for playing, the rest of the money you earn goes towards your charity. So the guys have some more skin in the game or something. But it's honestly ridiculous at this point.
Uh,
And having a mini tournament is not the way to fix it, Adam Silver. It's really not. Make the guys play. Make them play competitive basketball.
because a
That'll
mini
fix it.
tournament, adding a couple more games to their schedule is just going to make them, you know,
Even lazier and more
exactly. They're going to be
lackadaisical.
more tired and
We're gonna see all
possibly
stars load
more
managing
injured.
an all-star game.
Yeah. Or not
That's what
even
we're gonna
showing up
see.
because they don't want to get hurt.
It's like, well,
It's
LeBron's not playing in the all-star game semifinal. He's saving it for the finals of the
he got to
all-star
go get
game.
a hair treatment done.
He's got to get the hair treatment, or Kawhi needs a knee replacement. Embiid's lower leg is bothering him again, or you know,
Something
Ja and Ant spent too much time out of the club the night before, even though they've been doing better. Shout out to Ja, shout out to Ant, staying on the court this year.
that is
So, we'll
hilarious.
see what happens.
But well, I appreciate you coming on here. We're almost to our hour. So
Definitely, man. Definitely, man. I mean, a
I'll
little
hit
bit
you
of a
up.
different flow, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all the same. It's always great talking sports with you, my guy.
Absolutely.
Um, maybe we'll get to come back, do this again. To anybody that is tuned in and watching, hey, we definitely appreciate it. Thank y'all for showing up. If
Yep.
this is something you guys like, Hey, let us
let
know.
us know. Yeah, because
Maybe next time we kind of get the fans involved. Maybe see if they got some topics to throw out. You never know where we could
absolutely
take this thing.
let us know because I've been watching, seeing, and Darrell's been the one saying stuff, and he's talking his way into a hole right now. I hope Oregon wins. I hope. Mm,
I mean, but you got to think for Darrell, he doesn't have a lot to cheer for as a Virginia Cavalier fan. And I know what the Hokies played UVA this weekend for the Commonwealth Cup, which the Hokies usually dominate. But
yeah,
again, I'm kind of tired of Texas because we look like dog shit. I mean, we get smacked in the first game of the year against Vandy, which that kind of started Vanderbilt's kind of rise this season.
yeah.
You lose the game at Miami after the ref said it was a touchdown on the field. They review it. They take 15 minutes to review it just to come back and say, "Oh, call reverse, game over." Then even this past weekend against Duke, you win the turnover battle, and even with Pop Watson coming in, you're gifted the fumble and a chance to go down and win the game,
As
and it just all falls to shit.
SMU is just clinched their spot to play Miami in the ACC championship game.
Now that's a story. That's a story. SMU coming all the way back and now dominating the ACC. And it's kind of funny because along the way this year, they smacked Florida State, and Florida State was one of the main people saying, "Hey, we don't want them in the conference. They don't belong here." And now SMU is showing, "Hey, buddy, we belong here a little bit more than you do."
Florida State couldn't win on NCAA. They, I don't know
Honestly,
what.
this past season, NCAA was the only place Florida State won, and I think that was after I ran the dynasty mode for like 2-3 seasons. So that might not even count.
I seen an article where Lagaway he went back to the portal, but he's coming
For
to
what?
he wants to go to Ohio State.
The only portal he should enter into is to transfer to my couch or clipboard holder. That's it. He's not a college quarterback, and if you're not a college quarterback, there's no way you're a pro quarterback. But at this point, kid, either go D2 or D3. There's no way he's a starter again for a D1 program unless everybody else in the quarterback room is injured.
I really thought he would end up at UVA because Tony Allen recruited him.
I
And
think I don't think UVA is dumb enough to do that. I really don't. After seeing his performance over the years, but then again, it is UVA, and they do things like that when it comes to football. Darrell knows best.
he does. He does. Sorry, Darrell, if you're watching. Not really.
I'm not. It's rivalry week. You're still my
Yeah.
guy though, Darrell, but it's rivalry week.
They're the first team to ever lose to a 16 seed in the NCAA too.
Yeah, I think that year the football kind of trickled over to the basketball that year.
That's why when I watch my games, I don't wear any merch because when he went to watch the game up at V-Dubs, I was like,
Mhm.
"You don't wear that hat." And he's like, "Why? I'm representing," and they lost. He's like, "I'm burning this damn hat."
No, man, go ahead, represent. Represent as the first team to lose to a 16 seed. Represent. Go
But
ahead, represent it. I mean, I got to represent blowing a Super Bowl. You can represent, losing 16 to a 1 seed. You can represent that.
I mean, look at it. You were at least in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, first team to win it and lose it in the same game. But we'll see if they ever bounce back.
I mean, I really am impressed with what the Falcons. I really Kirk Cousins was such a twat when he was up in Minnesota, and look how good Sam Darnold is looking in Minnesota. That defense is just stacked, and I know Darrell and I did a show at the beginning of the year, football season, picking who we thought, and we had so many teams from the NFC, AFC North going. Right now, 3 teams from the NFC North would make the playoffs.
I mean, again, that division has been looking great all year. We're seeing Sam Darnold have his resurgence with Kevin O'Connell at at head coach. I mean, everybody thought Sam was going to be just a stop guy, a bridge guy to JJ McCarthy, but honestly, if you're Minnesota, I think you definitely have to consider running it back or at least signing him to a long-term deal this offseason. Maybe you give him the same deal that the Seahawks gave Geno, where you can get out
Right.
of it at any point. But I don't think you can let him walk after the season he's had. I mean, it's been special. This is the Sam Darnold that we thought we were going to get coming out of USC. That if you were a Jets fan, you were hoping and praying for. He's finally emerged as that guy.
But it shows the Jets that that team is toxic.
And that's why they need to be immunized. That's why the Jets need to be immunized. It starts with the quarterback, maybe even the owner. It starts there, maybe too. But that organization needs to be immunized, and maybe then they'll turn it around.
How is it the NFL owners live so damn long?
I mean, when you got money like that, there's not a
Because
care in the world. There's no stress.
Woody
I
Johnson
think that
is like
factors
100.
into it.
Jerry Jones is 150.
He's definitely making decisions like he's that old. Bringing Zeke back, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know, man. Again, I'm gonna say it's the stress-free life of having all that money and just being able to wake up and say, "What do I want to do today?"
They ran Zeke
I
into
think
the
it adds
ground.
years.
That's the thing. They ran him
I
so
mean,
far
but
into
they
the
did the
ground.
same thing with DeMarco Murray. I mean, they're
Yeah.
known for running backs into the ground. They did it with Zeke. They did it with DeMarco Murray. I mean, those are
Marion
two guys
Barber.
alone. Marion that's three where they ran the guys into the ground. They performed while they were in Dallas. At the end, they didn't necessarily get that second contract or the big contract they were looking for. They go elsewhere, and they're never the same.
I absolutely agree. I mean, because they're like, just feed it to him, let him go. I mean, they're used to having Emmitt Smith, so they're still living in the 90s. Give them that.
I don't think the Niners are coming back anytime soon. Not for Dallas, anyway.
Well,
Fashion is the only place that the '90s is coming back,
I agree with you because you know what else they had in the 90s? Common sense.
and good coaching.
Yes. They used to
So, hey,
develop players. Now they just want instant results, instant gratification because it's all right here.
they're all in, and so long as Jerry makes those headlines, I think at this point he's honestly he's content with that.
Oh shit. All right. Well, let's see. We got next. I'll possibly might come back Monday to see how it goes. I'm leaving Tuesday because my grandson should be here soon.
Hey, congratulations on that ahead of time, but definitely, man. Hopefully, the little man makes it here shortly, safely and on his way. And have you guys picked a name yet, or are we still waiting on that?
She's got a name, but she says until it's on the birth certificate, don't count it.
I totally understand that.
It's Coulter is the name, so it's different. I like it, but as long as he's got 10 fingers, 10 toes, and doesn't have the wandering eye
Happy,
like
healthy,
his
bouncing
grandpa,
baby. That's all we're looking for.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Definitely,
but
but definitely, man. Congratulations on that. Hopefully,
thank you.
we get some positive reports from that soon.
I don't. I'm gonna behave. Definitely positive reports. As long as he acts like his grandpa, God help him. Hey, you've met his uncle, so I mean, our great uncle.
I mean, hey, look, he's probably gonna be putting salt in the beer eventually, like everybody else, having a good time.
In his bottle.
I can't. I don't know if we want to start it off that young, but hey, look, he's all right in my book.
He always asks me, he's like, so how's James? I was like, he's still there.
Still alive, still kicking, still making it happen one day at a time, man.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Anything for
All
the
right,
people?
Jay. Oh, hey, for the people out there, as always, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all the great stuff we got here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And until next time,
Yeah, and if you enjoyed seeing our faces, let us know. We'll definitely do it again because I miss talking sports with anybody. Not saying that I got James from the bottom of the barrel, but he was the only one that returned my message.
hey, look,
Hey, I appreciate it,
Do
brother.
it,
I
man.
needed it.
Regardless of where I'm at in the barrel, happy to be here.
I needed to talk sports because I was like, yeah.
Well, hey, like we said, we'll make it happen. Again, if you guys like this, if you want more of it, just let us know. Holler at us in the comments.
Absolutely. Y'all have a blessed week and happy Turkey Day. Enjoy family time and hopefully VA warms up because this cold it sucks ass.
Nah, I think it's settled in. We're at that point of the year now. It's gonna be chilly for here on out.
I can't fucking feel my toes setting right here. All right. Peace.
Peace.